for listening to Nerdy 430, the podcast where we talk about nerdy-ish things for 30-ish minutes. My name is Tim Keck. It's normally Kevin Bauer doing the intros, but he is blowing chunks right now, which he made me promise not to say on the podcast. So first promise broken. Kevin, he is unable to make it. So we have replaced him. I would say an upgrade. We've upgraded from Kevin Bauer to our good friend, Dani King. Dani, thank you so much for being here on the pod.
Of course. Thank you for having me. After a long time coming, I'm happy to be here. I don't know if I was supposed to not talk about this, but we're breaking all the rules today. And that I was supposed to be on the Dune episode, but Kevin also then was blowing chunks or whatever. He never watched Dune, is my understanding. So I read the whole book and I have a whole like set ready for Dune. And then I got bumped to Guardians of the Galaxy. So
well, I don't even think we ever got around to doing Dune.
I don't think, no, you never did Dune, which is just as well, because I mean, it was fine. I know this is not the Dune episode, but I'm going to say Dune is just like dad sci-fi. That's all you need to say about it. It's sci-fi for dads. Like, that's what it is. So this is not sci-fi for dads. This is sci-fi for people who love Christmas. That's what I would say.
That perfect overlap between science fiction and Christmas. Maybe we'll do Dune 2. I don't know. They're making another movie, right? Zendaya's coming back.
No, they should be making 3 based on the book. So I already know what happens because I, again, read the whole book. It's a 3-part. Yeah.
I think it was just false advertising because they have Zendaya out there promoting everything, and then she's in like 5 minutes of the movie. I was like, this is bullshit. This
I know.
Isn't right.
I cannot handle, like, I don't like Timothée Chalamet, but love Zendaya, and I was very disappointed that she was on it. She should be in the other ones more. I don't know. I'm not thrilled for it. I'm not excited for it.
No, but I am excited to talk Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
No,
you're not. You're not excited about this.
I'm mildly. Well, one is only 45 minutes, so like this pod is going to be like you could watch almost the entire special by the time you listen. It's very short, which is not bad. It was fine. Can I just dive right in to?
Yeah. So are you a big Guardians of the Galaxy head? Are you into the Guardians of the Galaxy? Where do they rank in the Marvel universe for you?
Yeah, that's the thing, is that I'm a big Marvel fan. Have been lacking. What are they in, like phase 4 now? I haven't seen a lot of the phase 4 movies, like definitely since Infinity War. I saw the Spider-Man. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Yes. And I like X-Men a lot, which I know are not in the MCU yet. And there are select characters in the MCU that I love. I wouldn't say Guardians of the Galaxy are one of my favorites, but I have enjoyed. I'm just not really familiar with them. That, I was like definitely like I had a good understanding of a lot of the main Marvel characters, and then when the MCU started, I know they were like digging in the bottom of the barrel to get no name characters out there a bit more because they were cheaper and easier to make. And I respect and I understand that. And I have like very much enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The first 2 were great. They were really interesting and fun. And it was just a new kind of take on some Marvel characters that I haven't seen before. But this special, the special wasn't bad. I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah. Have you been watching any of the TV shows or any like the other specials they did? Did you watch The Werewolf by Night?
No, I watched WandaVision. That's the other thing, is that like I prepared so well for Dune that I got locked and then this got sprung on me. No, like I just got shifted to this, and I'm not huge on like the deep cut phase. Like phase 4 really has just been so weird and confusing because it's like so many TV shows that I just don't have the time or maybe the interest in necessarily watching. And I'm not sure which ones are super relevant. So I've seen WandaVision, and that's really the only like MCU TV show that I have committed to and seen, and I enjoyed it very much. I haven't watched She-Hulk or Moon Knight or pretty much any other Marvel TV show. So this was like one of my first forays into that. I guess this wasn't really a TV show. It was like a TV special, which was fine.
Yeah, I was thinking because I've obviously watched all of it. I love all the Marvel stuff. But some of the TV shows, we've talked about them on the pod, and they can be kind of hit or miss. Especially like Marvel hasn't really figured out what to do with the TV show format. Are they all like just episodics like CSI or something like that? Or is it Is it like like straight through plot? Is it really just like too long a movie or a movie with filler, or like is it tight? And like they've had a hard time with it. But I kind of really enjoy these like 45-minute, like short, like half movies. I think it's a really fun format. I know you didn't watch Werewolf by Night, and it's not necessarily a super compelling character. It's a werewolf. And for Halloween, they did a little short with him. And I don't know if we're ever going to see that character again. I don't know if there's anything comes out of that, but it is just like a nice little 40-minute whatever. You're at home, you get to watch this thing, enjoy it. I thought this holiday special was a great length, 40 minutes or whatever. And it was just a corny, kind of weird Christmas special. I mean, it was like as generic and like hokey as Christmas specials, which I think is partially intentional. And then it also had like some Guardians of the Galaxy weirdness in it, which I really liked.
Yes, it was definitely, I mean, it's very like saccharine, sweet, like nice, very light. The end made me tear up, though. I will say, like, it wasn't bad. I definitely chuckled a couple times. I think some of the jokes did not land for me because I think the Guardians of the Galaxy formula is getting a little stale for me, where it's like, yeah, Drax doesn't understand nuance or whatever. And it's like that joke only is funny for like so long. And like I am Groot is only going to say I am Groot. Like we've seen now 2 movies and now this special with it, where it's like some of those jokes are starting to not land with me so well. Also, I was a little bit lost because, like, when did they get a talking psychic dog? I don't know when that's the picture, but that's a character now. Yeah, I mean, it was like, again, it was good. I would recommend it for people who are big fans of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, if you want more Guardians of the Galaxy, this will definitely, I think, scratch that itch. I would say it's probably more focused on people who really love Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a very small niche group that I would recommend this to, is that people who love Guardians of the Galaxy and love Christmas. Like, if you love both those things, then you will love this special. If you like either of those things, you might enjoy it. At the end of the day, though, I was just like, yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was fine. It definitely, I think there was an interesting tie-in, I think, with the larger MCU at the end when, I can't remember her name, it says that she's Peter Quill's sister. So, like, that was cool. And that was, like, an important plot point, I know, and I'm sure will come back. What did you think of Chris Pratt in this?
I'm maybe a little burned out on Chris Pratt in general. I think kind of as what you were saying about the Guardians of the Galaxy shtick, it seems like it's kind of James Gunn's thing, and other people have been copying that. Not to mention James Gunn has been copying that. He did Suicide Squad. He did the Peacemaker show. And if you've watched those, like the comedic style is very similar. So it's like very sarcastic. He's also had such an influence on the MCU where like everyone's gotten a little bit more snarky and commenting on stuff and like a little more distanced from it. I still really like Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, though. I think he's like a shockingly good straight man. And him just reacting to all this stuff was very funny to me. I don't think he had a lot to do in this. I think it took like 3 hours of work for him to finish this. But the moment at the end where they're turning all the lights on and he's walking around, he's got this wonder on his face. I'm like, wow, this is kind of beautiful. He's really selling this. And then when they wheel out the box and the music's playing and it builds up to this moment that is so fucking funny. I thought when the box starts shaking and Chris Pratt starts frowning and he knows something's wrong, it's like all falling apart. I think he's great at selling those moments, and that got me really good. And him bantering with Groot is good. I don't know. I think I just love this crew. I love the Guardians of the Galaxy. I could watch them do anything, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was definitely, it's feel good. It's not like, it's a popcorn movie. This is not, I don't think, like changing or challenging anything in the Guardians of the Galaxy or MCU really. Like, it's not pushing the boundaries, I wouldn't say, in any major way. And yeah, there were several times where Chris Pratt got me. I thought, like the intro when they're playing the music and he's like, you guys just got these instruments like right when the song wraps up, got me pretty good. But like most of the commentary throughout that, like when the intro music is playing, with that kind of, you know, fun, silly song that they're playing about Christmas, there's like several intercut scenes where it cuts to Chris Pratt and he just makes like some like Jim Halpert-esque, like looking at the camera, like, what are these guys doing type moments that just like really didn't land for me as well. And also I'm also getting burnt out on Chris Pratt. And the entire time he is walking around. All I could think about is that he walks. I feel like he's done so many voiceover and like voice acting jobs in the last several years since COVID hit that he just maybe has forgotten. Like he can act with his voice very well. And that's what made me laugh. But like his physical presence, he just looked so uncomfortable or like just stilted and very robotic. And it just, every time he would walk, he just like had his hands down, like down flat and was walking like a robot kind of. And I could just, all I could think about was that picture of, do you know that picture of Robert Pattinson in the kitchen where it's just like that really, it was like a meme photo of him just like standing there like, what? Like he just got like somebody just came in and he was standing there trying to get a snack in the middle of the night and somebody just turned on the lights. Like that's how Chris Pratt looks in this entire thing. Like his face and his body is just so robotic. Like, but then it doesn't match his voice and like his expressions. So.
Okay. I have a canon justification for this, which I think is actually why I'm also a bigger proponent of them doing more of these shorts, especially with like characters that we know that are already a commodity, right?
Yes.
So this takes place after Endgame, right? We haven't really seen the Guardians since. I guess it also takes place after the latest Thor movie because the Guardians are in that. Mm-hmm. And between that, we've seen Groot go from like teenager Groot to like still being a kid, but like maybe it's like preteen.
17, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like, he's driving now. He's Groot. He's like bigger, like stockier. So a lot of time has passed in this time frame. And in that time, they've been like looking for Gamora, who's like the love of his life, who's gone and is out there somewhere. And they're hanging out on this planet. It took me a while to figure out where they were actually doing this whole thing. Right. And there's this like space called Nowhere, I believe, that the Collector lives, and he had one of the Infinity Stones, and then he had all these collections of characters, including I think Cosmo the dog, who's the dog in the spacesuit, who was like in an exhibit. So he had all these exhibits with different things and different pieces from the MCU. So I guess they bought that from him, and now they're just like rehabilitating this planet, which sounds like a very boring un-Guardians of the Galaxy job. And so I'm just picturing Peter Quill is like heartbroken. He's like grieving. He's kind of bored. He's just kind of like in a funk, and they're not doing anything cool. And they're just kind of like stalling and hanging out. Like it seems like he's bored and depressed. And I kind of thought he was doing a good job of making me bummed out when they first cut back to him, like after going off planet and coming back, and he's just like picking at like a jar of nuts. Yeah. Like by himself. I was so bummed out watching that. I was like, oh, poor guy. He looks so bummed out. And I think they're selling us on it. I think they're trying to make us feel that. So that's my justification for his stilted performance.
You may have swayed me. I am starting to think he's entering his Adam Sandler era, and that his Adam Sandler era where he just doesn't give a fuck. And he's just like, I'm Star-Lord. You can't take this away from me. So I'm just going to do it to the best of my. I also like he's been doing. So I heard a rumor that like he's been doing so many voice acting, and like every voice of every animated character now is Chris Pratt because he like wouldn't get vaccinated or something allegedly around COVID, and like he wasn't allowed on like a lot of sets because he wouldn't wear a mask or wasn't getting vaccinated or doing these things that he could do in a voice recording studio. Like he could be by himself and was allowed to do all these vocal like voiceover things. I have no idea if that's true or not, but you may have swayed me a little bit in that it worked for him in this context of being kind of depressed and sad and slow moving. But it also looks like they just woke him up out of bed and were like, no, you got to be Star-Lord for like 3 hours today. Like we got to get these 3 shots of you hanging out and then meeting Kevin Bacon and then just go like, she's going to tell you that she's your sister and you got to be like, what? And then give her a hug. I don't know. Chris Pratt, I'm just like kind of burnt out on in general. So it's just, he's not my favorite just actor to watch most of these days.
I think it's a combination of both. I think it's probably a little bit of both of what we said, him being probably rusty and then him kind of trying to figure out this pathetic character. I am burned out on him. I'm excited for the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. We're getting one more. I think it's the last one James Gunn is doing. I think it's going to be devastating. That's my prediction. I think I'm going to cry during this next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I can feel it. There's going to be something emotional. We're going to lose something. I don't know I have no idea what it could be, but I'm ready to get caught up in it. I'm ready to get weepy and say goodbye to some people.
Yeah, I'm interested. I don't know. I think I'm starting to get a little burnout. I think the shtick, like you said, and that's a good point about like Suicide Squad, like so many other movies now, like the success of Guardians of the Galaxy led so many other movies to copy it. And that like the whole shtick of just being like kind of ironically detached and like, looking at the camera and shrugging, like that is starting to get a little burnt out on me. So I hope that it's able to explore it a bit more. Cause this felt, I mean, again, it felt very much like, I had an expectation of going in here that it was going to be very easy watching and it was just going to be Guardians of the Galaxy having fun with the concept of Christmas, which none of them obviously understand because they're all aliens. So yeah, it was, I mean, that's exactly what it was. I thought Kevin Bacon was great. I really liked Kevin Bacon in this.
Kevin Bacon was great. When they actually showed, was Kevin Bacon who you thought when they were like, who does Peter Quill talk about the most?
No, but it made immediate sense because I hadn't seen the first one in a long time, but I remember him talking about, and like, yeah, the whole dance thing at the end and like him talking about.
Because I thought of David Hasselhoff, which they already made a David Hasselhoff joke, I think, in the second one, but that's who I was expecting. And then they said Kevin Bacon, and I was like, oh, yeah, he does talk about Kevin Bacon a lot, too. But for a while, he had a picture of David Hasselhoff, like, as his dad or something.
Yeah.
So right, that was a good bit.
I just don't. I mean, it's very confusing for me because now it's like, well, Kevin Bacon is canon in the MCU, so Kevin Bacon exists, and what does this mean for the rest of reality? Because like Kevin Bacon was in an X-Men movie, so he was in Footloose in this reality. Kevin Bacon was in Footloose, and he was in like all these other movies. But then was he in the X-Men movie? And do they have a concept of that in this MCU? It just gets really sticky and it becomes a whole cyclical thing when they start introducing real actors into like these fantastic.
Yeah, that stuff is weird. I think X-Men is not a part of X-Men is not canon right now as far as the MCU is concerned. Yes.
But is Kevin Bacon acting in that movie canon?
Yes. Well, so what's funny is, so Kevin Bacon exists in this universe. Footloose exists in this universe, and Batman exists in this universe.
Yes,
they made a joke about Batman.
Oh yeah, so they did make a joke. Yeah, Kevin Bacon made a joke about Batman.
So the DC universe exists in the MCU as a piece of entertainment, which is kind of funny. I don't think they've really done that before, but I could be wrong. Maybe they made jokes about it before. Who knows?
I mean, they definitely made references to things that I'm like, wait, how does that actually exist in this world? Because that doesn't. It starts to fall apart a little bit. I think the MCU has just gotten so big and so all encompassing that it is kind of like it's impossible to make it like its own thing because you want it to reference the real world and it has to in several ways, that it's like impossible to make it, I think, its own completely separate thing. I don't know. That just like kind of threw me through a loop for a second. There's so many scenes now where I'm like, why are these people like, why are the humans on Earth shocked by anything that happens? And I thought there was kind of a funny bit at the beginning when they're like, or towards the middle when Drax, and what is her name? I cannot remember her name.
Oh,
Mantis are going to Earth and they like start like flying and they haven't turned on the holographic
cloaking device.
Cloaking device. And there's a bunch of people that just start watching them. And instead of being in like abject horror or being like half of the people are just like mystified. They're just like, oh, what's this new ship here? Because like they've all seen obviously New York being blown up by aliens and like all of these things exist in the real world now. And there was like one woman who just like started crying, like just started sobbing immediately because I'm assuming she thought LA was going to be under attack or was going to be the next target of some alien invasion, which I thought was great. But then like Kevin Bacon goes to this alien planet and is like immediately freaking out about Rocket Raccoon. But like, don't all Earthlings know about Rocket Raccoon? Like, don't they know who the Guardians of the Galaxy are? Like, why is he freaked out why is he not like, holy shit, it's Star-Lord? Like, I know you guys. Like, you guys helped save the galaxy.
That's what I was thinking too, is like, are they known at all because of Endgame? But really, that's it. They're known because of Endgame. I guess they hung out with the Asgardians a little bit. And then that's like it. It's not like there was a film crew in the final fight scene of Endgame. Like nobody knows what any of this stuff was. Nobody knows what happened to Steve Rogers. It seems like this stuff isn't really common knowledge. So they definitely like make it clear that nobody knows who the Guardians of the Galaxy are.
In the first Avengers, the entire New York City was demolished by alien invasions. And I think like, and there's like all these referential things to like how the world is changing because of this new technology and because of these new advancements. And like half of the world's population disappeared for 5 years and then came back. So it's like, why is Kevin Bacon presumably who either disappeared for 5 years and then came back to life, or his wife or people he knew, famous people he knew, disappeared for 5 years and came back, is then like just like I don't know. If I was in the MCU world at this point, I would be so jaded and so like over any sort of fantastical sci-fi.
Maybe. Okay. But then like what scenarios has Kevin Bacon been a part of? He in the first Avengers, right? The aliens attack New York. That's an isolated incident. That's New York City. He's in LA. He had no contact with any of them.
He was like, I don't care.
Yeah, a lot of the Avengers movies, they're taking place in New York. I'm pretty sure Endgame takes place like upstate New York. So he's not around for any of it. They do the zapping thing, the disappearing thing.
Yeah,
and then he sees superheroes on TV because they're being covered by the news. None of the known superheroes are talking animals. So he gets off a spaceship, he's had no direct exposure with anything extraterrestrial. So this is his first experience with aliens and with animals that can talk. Which also was another great laugh, which got me too when Rocket's like, we're not going to hurt you. And he's like a talking raccoon. He's like, I'm going to kill you instantly. I think that there's some like great moments in this. I think there's some really good laughs in it. And I was in on it. Were you excited to see, oh man, now I'm blanking on his name again. Michael Rooker's character again, Yondu, the blue guy?
Yeah. No, I thought that was the little like, I really like the Peter Quill Yondu like relationship, and I think he's an interesting and fun character, and I thought that was like I liked the wrap up at the end, like kind of showing that like Yondu puts on this hard front, but he's actually like, and we've seen that several times, a sweet like guy and has a soft side that he doesn't like to show or doesn't want to show, and like that's how Star-Lord got his blasters or whatever, was his first Christmas in space with Yondu. So I thought that was fun, and that was a nice little. I liked the animation. It was like at first I was like, wait, is this whole thing animated? And I was like, that's not possible.
Yeah, I did have that thought too. I was a little bummed at first, and then I'm like, oh, okay, never mind. That's fine.
Yeah. It was fun. That's the thing, is that like, I mean, honestly, I would give this maybe like 2.5 stars out of 5, just because like it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea. Again, I'm not the biggest Guardians of the Galaxy fan, and I do love a good Christmas movie, but I mean, most of it, like the whole scene with them chasing Kevin Bacon on Earth, like that kind of fell flat for me. Like that was all of Mantis and Drax on Earth was just like, we've seen this before. And it's fine. It doesn't really have much to do with Christmas or much to do with the characters or anything. It's just like, what would happen if Drax and Mantis walked into a bar and a gay dude accidentally hit on Drax? Like, it's like they drink and then like she uses her powers to get a free brochure. Like, okay, I don't know. And then they chase Kevin Bacon around for like so long, and there was like, it was funny at first when Drax picked up the little elf and was like, this is my little man, and then like she picks up the candy cane and is like, I like your little man too, or whatever. But then like they do that bit several times, so I'm just like, okay, we get the bit. He likes the little elf dude. Like, move on. Like, it just
agree to disagree. I love the elf dude. When she gave the cops her candy cane and she's like, we're even now. I really wanted this. We're even now. I thought that was funny. I don't know. I dug it. I think I just like the Guardians of the Galaxy more than you. I think that's pretty clear through this conversation. Is that I'm a fan. I could watch him do anything. Honestly, I enjoyed it.
I would recommend, if you're a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy, I think you really enjoy this. Like, I think it's like, if you want more of that, if you liked the first 2 movies and you want to see more of that, this will scratch that itch. Especially if you love Christmas. Like, this is great.
This is not the most original thing ever. I think it is kind of like a hokey, it's like a little fish out of water thing. Yeah. It does feel like a little hokey, gimmicky, like Christmas special, holiday special, which I'm cool with. I like hanging out with these characters. It's fun to put them in that filter. I enjoy it. Okay, I want to get into some categories that we used to do a lot of categories on here. Kevin's been slacking. We have some categories. My first one is an oldie, but it's a goodie. It's one of my favorite. It's called When Did You Know? All right. And I'm only saying that because we start this off by saying, when did you know? And asking a question. You don't have to do it. I'm springing this on you right now, but I have one ready to go.
Okay.
Dani, when did you know that the Christmas song at the beginning was one of the greatest Christmas songs of all time? It's so catchy. I don't know what Christmas is, but Christmas time is here. I've been playing it nonstop. Honestly, it's so addictive. James Gunn helped them write it. It's like original for this show. I can't believe they knocked it out of the park with this original Christmas song. I think it's in the roster for me now going forward. It's on my Spotify Christmas playlist. I'm all into it. What did you think? What did you think of?
It was fun. I thought it was a fun start to like, it really hit all of those good Christmas notes of like, they talked about Christmas. Obviously they misconstrued some things because they're aliens. They don't get it. Like, I thought that bit was very funny. And like, I think having it butted right up against like the animation was like really nice. Cause like, it felt very Christmassy immediately. It was like animation, Christmas song, good to go. Peter Quill's making sarcastic comments. I don't know if this is going to enter my rotation of Christmas classic songs. I will be playing this for my mom, my Christmas time. Like, you got to check this out, the hottest new Christmas track. I thought it was very fun. And it was, again, I think the end really, I did have a good laugh at it when he was like, you guys just got these instruments, because they start the song being like, we just found these instruments and found out about Christmas and we wrote this little ditty, and then they play an amazing, it was a very, very well executed song, I thought. Yes. But yeah, not a Christmas classic.
It's great. It's a real band, apparently, that I'm not familiar with at all, that James Gunn is friends with. Oh. And the first song he worked with them on to write, and then the second one, or the one at the end that Kevin Bacon sings, apparently is one of their songs that they redid with Kevin Bacon. I could be completely making all of that up, but that's what I heard, is that's in their catalog. That song exists, which, like, I like the music. What do you think of the Christmas music in general on this? Because James Gunn, legendary for his soundtracks or the music he picks, he puts a lot of thought into it. And I think he's great at picking those songs that are like right on the edge of like your memory, where you're like, I used to listen to this song a lot, or I've heard this song, when my parents played this song, or a friend played this song, and this is kind of bringing it back. And I feel like he kind of hit that note with a lot of those.
Yeah, I liked all of them except it started out the song at the beginning. I had to Google it because I was like, what is this Christmas song? It sounds like almost Bob Dylan, off-brand Bob Dylan, like singing sad, like melancholy Bob Dylan-y Christmas song. I'd never heard it. I never have heard the band either. I looked it up, and it was like, it's a real Christmas song that, I guess James Gunn must have found or whatever. Other than that very first intro song when like the intro credits are playing, I enjoyed it. No, the music was great. It was all very well put together. And I really I didn't know that was an actual band, because I liked the acting of the lead singer guy, him talking with like Peter Quill in the beginning about like Christmas and what it means, and like how they just found these human instruments and are working on this song. I thought it was good. He was a really good actor. I thought he was really funny. Like, he had a moment that made me chuckle. I can't remember what it was. But he said like just the way he delivered his lines was very funny. I thought he was like this weird alien dude.
Yeah, he was great. I think the band, I don't remember if the band, they're called like the Old 97s, which I don't know how legit they are. It doesn't seem like they've got a ton of listens on the old Spotify. Taylor Swift, they are not, but but yeah, that alien guy was great. The lead dude was awesome. Music was good. I was a big fan.
Could sing. He can sing and dance. And
me neither.
Triple threat. I did not know Kevin Bacon was a triple threat. Apparently,
I think that's how they got him to do this. I think that's how they got him. He's like, "Can I sing?" And they're like, "I don't know. Can you, Kevin Bacon?"
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't like, he could croon. He wasn't, anything special. Great. But I was like, wow. I was like, okay, Kevin Bacon, wow, let's go.
He's holding his own at karaoke.
And he was like very spry. I don't know how old Kevin Bacon was, but when like he was being chased around the house, I was like, can Kevin Bacon do this still? I know Footloose, he was very active and jumping all over the place, but I was like, he's looking a little old these days. But Kevin Bacon was, I think, the standout for me in this. Chris Pratt was my least favorite, and I think Kevin Bacon was like surprisingly very fun, especially when he was like switching, when Mantis kept messing with his emotions and how he felt, and he was like very quickly switching and doing those like fun accents and all that stuff. Like, Kevin Bacon really shone for me in this.
He was crushing it. So while we're nitpicking, let's get into one of our categories. Is called beefs, which is the thing that we didn't like about it.
Yes.
About it. Our biggest beef with this thing. What do you have a beef ready to go? What's like your biggest beef with this whole?
My biggest beef really was Chris Pratt's physical acting. Like, if I closed my eyes and listened to this, I'd be like, wow, Chris Pratt's doing a great job. But if I like turned the volume off and just read the subtitles and watched him perform, I would be like, is he awake? He looks half asleep. And again, like, all I could think about was just Robert Pattinson in the kitchen the entire time I was watching him. He didn't move his arms enough. His arms were just like down the entire, like, he looks like very like he just started walking again. Like, he's never walked on camera before. And he's like, what do I do with my hands? Like, that's, yeah.
He's doing the voice booth walk.
Yes.
Man.
What is your beef?
I don't know. I was trying to think of like what my biggest beef in this is. I think I just wish it had more time with the other characters. I recognize that's not what this is, but you know, just have anything going on with Nebula. No Rocket. Groot was great, but just like was barely in it.
I think that's what would have solved my issue with the whole like the Drax and Mantis and Hollywood stuff was that it never cut away from that. It was them in Hollywood, like from the second they landed all the way through to when they got Kevin Bacon back. And it would have been nice to have some cutbacks to like what are Peter and what is like Rocket and Cosmo. I thought at the very beginning they set up a really fun relationship between them two. Like, Cosmo is a telekinetic talking dog and Rocket is just like a mutated raccoon. Like they had a really fun kind of chemistry going. And I was like, I want to see them intercut throughout more. Like I wanted to see more of them interacting, trying to fix things up or trying to do things. Like I wanted to see them setting up the lights. They just come back to the nowhere or whatever, and all the lights and everything are set up. And it's like I wanted to see them try to do that and try to do it like secretly while Peter wasn't looking and stuff. Like I just wanted more. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and I think there was also a moment with Mantis where she robs that lady where I was like, okay, what is there going to be is there going to be something where they fly over and they drop her money back? It's like, no. She took this. They found this poor woman who was trying to be helpful or at the very least make a sale. She can't be loaded, right? She's working this stand. I don't know what they're making. I'm sure it's not six figures. She's probably like, needs whatever money she's got. And Mantis just robs her blind and then takes her the map. And that's like the point of the Merry Christmas thing. Like everything else seemed like very pleasant. And like, though they're beating up the cops, but they're putting them to sleep and they flip a car and like, whatever. That's a misunderstanding. But that was like the first time she just like blatantly robbed someone. This is fucked up. Mantis.
That should have been the post-credit scene, is her just like going home to her kids and being like, I'm sorry, we can't have a Merry Christmas. We got robbed by me.
We couldn't afford toys this year because I was robbed. I don't know what happened. I gave all my money to this woman for some reason.
I agree. That was really, I thought it was, she was like, oh yeah, Map to the Stars. That was really funny. Oh, and she's going to steal it. And then, and then she took her money for no reason. She didn't need any more money. That's the other thing, is it wasn't like she was like, oh, we need this map and we need money to get to Kevin Bacon. It's like, we just need the map. I'm just taking the money for fun, because they go back to nowhere after that. They rob a Christmas store, which, I mean, maybe they left the money there, but it's like,
maybe. I think they paid. Well, I don't know if they paid for it. They didn't have any money.
Yeah.
They robbed that too.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're terrible people. That's what I've learned about them on Christmas. Okay. Let's do some thieves. Because it's who or what stole the show for us.
We already know.
Yes. I think I have a good idea of what yours is. Kevin Bacon.
Oh, baby. I'm on the bacon train.
On the bacon train. He crushed it. He was great. I'm going to download his album when it inevitably comes out.
I can't wait to see more of this young actor, Kevin Bacon.
He's in his prime.
I'm excited for his trajectory. He's really going to, I think, be a hot star.
So my thief, I think, flies in the face of what we were just talking about, because I liked that we got to see Mantis like kick butt and like fight, and like she was putting people to sleep, and she's unique. And there's that moment when she's chasing Kevin Bacon and like leaping around, like all creepy. I mean, it was a little scary. And I loved it because you don't get to see that. I mean, to be fair, the characters that I was like, I wish we could have seen more of are all characters we've seen a lot more of compared to Mantis and, Batista. I don't even remember his real name. I just always think of it's Batista to me. It's Batista. I knew him in the WWE before Drax, so it's Batista to me. One of the better professional wrestlers gone actor. Top 2, even though John Cena's given him a run for his money.
I think, but has Batista done anything besides Drax? Like, he's really good at Drax.
He's done a couple things. He's going to be in the new whatchamacallit. He's going to be in Glass Onion, which I haven't seen yet.
I did not know that. I've not been following Batista's acting career very closely. I love Drax. He's really good as Drax. I agree with that, actually. No, it was really, I did like seeing Mantis in a more, like, it was a little bit weird, I think, at some moments where she was being like very like stealing from that lady, or but I thought that she redeemed herself pretty well by like not killing the cops, but just like putting them to sleep. I don't know. I just think of Mantis as like a badass. Like, she can fight, obviously, and she can influence and control people's emotions and their actions by virtue of that. But she's always kind of, I think, been in like a backseat role or been in a more support role. Whereas like this was, I think it was a good showing for her to be in a more active and like, her kicking ass was dope.
Because I don't think we've seen her kick ass before. I don't think we've seen her fight really. I know she's in like that scene in Endgame where like, you know, maybe a little pandering, but like all the like ladies get together and Mantis pops up. And I remember thinking like, what the fuck's Mantis gonna do? Mantis can't fight. She doesn't fight anybody. Why is she here?
She's like a healer. She's like the background usually. She's not the aggressive role, which was, I agree. It was really cool to see her fighting and
yeah, she kicked butt. She was great. She's like a legit superhero in this, which I thought was awesome. Okay, we're nearing the end. Dani, final thoughts. Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was like cotton candy for Christmas season. It was just like, I'm not going to probably revisit it, but I'm not upset that I watched it. And, I feel a little bit more invested in the MCU now, I guess, because I haven't been watching many of these TV shows. So this did give me a good opportunity to like invest a little bit and explore some of these that I haven't seen. But yeah, unless you're like a big, again, diehard, it's a small circle, but there is an overlap. I think there's a Venn diagram of hardcore Guardians of the Galaxy fans and Christmas fans that would relish this. I think Rochelle, my wife and former guest on the pod, would love this special. She didn't watch it, and I told her about it, and she was like, that sounds like exactly me. She loves Guardians of the Galaxy. She loves Christmas. I think she's going to watch this and very much enjoy it.
And you're looking at another person who would love it. I had a great time. Would recommend. I think everyone should watch it. Maybe not everybody. I'm curious though, like with this and like Hawkeye takes place around Christmas. Spoiler for Hawkeye. I'm like, these don't really feel like Christmas movies though. I don't see myself like watching this every year. I feel like if I watch this, I'm going to want to watch Guardians 1, 2, this, and then Guardians 3. Yeah. You know, for some reason, I can't just watch an MCU movie. I want to watch all of them like in order. In order to get the most out of the experience. So who knows? But so that's Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Thank you so much for listening to the pod and giving us that sweet download. We love it. Dani, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. And everybody listening at home, keep downloading, keep listening, tell people. I don't know. How does Kevin usually end this? Oh, yeah. Stay nerdy. Bye.